Hello children, I am Bindu. Today I shall teach you reflection of light from the chapter Light of Physical Science of Grade 8th. Recapitulation. Real images can be formed on a screen, while virtual images cannot be formed on a screen. Concave mirrors form a real image and it can be caught on a screen. Unlike convex mirrors, concave mirrors show different image types. Whenever the object is kept anywhere between the infinity and the pole of a convex mirror, then we get a diminished, virtual and erect image formed between the pole and focus behind the mirror. Concave mirrors are used while applying makeup or shaving, as they provide a magnified image. They are used in torches, searchlights and headlights as they direct the light to a long distance. Convex mirrors are used in vehicles as rear view mirrors because they give an upright image and provide a wider field of view as they are curved outwards. Definition of reflection. Acquire knowledge about laws of reflection. Compare regular and irregular reflections. Understand the working principle of kaleidoscope. Understand the working principle of periscope. Keywords: the angle of incidence, angle of reflection, reflected rays, reflection, regular reflection, diffused or irregular reflection, incident rays, kaleidoscope, laws of reflection. Mind map. This is the mind map of light. Hey, we can see everything around us. If I ask you, how can it be possible? You can simply answer in one word, eyes. But can you see an object in the dark? It means that eyes alone cannot see any object. Light from an object enters our eyes and we see the object. The light may have been emitted by the object or may have been reflected by it. Now we shall read what is reflection. A ray of light, when falling on a body having shiny, polished and smooth surface along, is bounced back. This bouncing back of the light rays as they fall on the smooth, shiny and polished surface is called reflection. This is a property of light. Before reading the laws of reflection, we should know about some terms related to reflection. The light ray which strikes any surface is called the incident ray. The ray that comes back from the surface after reflection is known as the reflected ray. A line is drawn making an angle of 90 degrees to the line representing the mirror at the point where the incident ray strikes. This line is known as the normal to the reflecting surface at that point. The angle between the normal and incident ray is called the angle of incidence or I. The angle between the normal and the reflected ray is known as the angle of reflection or R. Now we shall read laws of reflection. The incident ray, the reflected ray and the normal at the point of incidence all lie in the same plane. The angle of incidence I and the angle of reflection R are always equal. Silver metal is the best reflector of light. That is why a thin layer of silver is deposited on the side of materials like plain glass sheets to make mirrors. We have learned that not all bodies can reflect light rays. The amount of reflection of light depends on the nature of reflecting surface of the body. Based on the nature of the surface, reflection can be classified into two types, namely regular reflection and irregular reflection. Regular reflection. When a beam of light, which is collection of parallel rays, falls on a smooth surface, it gets reflected. After reflection, the reflected rays will be parallel to each other. Here, the angle of incidence and the angle of reflection of each ray will be equal. Hence, the law of reflection is obeyed in this case. And thus, a clear image is formed. This reflection is called regular reflection or specular reflection. Irregular reflection or diffused reflection. In the case of a body having a rough or irregular surface, each region of the surface is inclined at different angles. When light falls on such a surface, the light rays are reflected at different angles. In this case, the angle of incidence and the angle of reflection of each ray are not equal. Hence, the law of reflection is not obeyed in this case, and thus the image is not clear. Such a reflection is called irregular reflection or diffused reflection. Example, reflection of light from a wall. Multiple reflections. Two plane mirrors are taken and keep them perpendicular to each other. Place an object between them. You can see the images of the object. How many images do you see in the mirrors? You can see 3 images. How it is possible to have 3 images with 2 mirrors? In the activity given above, you observe that for an object kept in between 2 plane mirrors which were inclined to each other, you could see many images. This is because the image formed by one mirror acts as an object for the other mirror. The image formed for the first mirror acts as an object for the second mirror, and the image formed by the second mirror acts as an object for the first mirror. Thus, we have 3 images of a single body. This is known as multiple reflections. This type of reflections can be seen in showrooms and saloons. The number of images formed depends on the angle of inclination of the mirrors. If the angle between the 2 mirrors is a factor of 360 degrees, then the total number of reflection is finite. If theta is the angle of inclination of the plane mirrors, the number of images formed is equal to 360 degrees by theta minus 1. As you decrease this angle, the number of images formed increases. When they are parallel to each other, the number of images formed becomes infinite. If two plane mirrors are inclined to each other at an angle of 90 degrees, find the number of images formed. To solve this, we have to gather information like angle of inclination is equal to 90 degrees. Number of images formed is equal to 360 degrees by theta minus 1. In the place of theta, we shall put 90 degrees. After calculation, we'll get answer 3. Kaleidoscope. It is a device that functions on the principle of multiple reflections of light to produce numerous patterns of images. It has two or more mirrors inclined to each other. It can be designed from inexpensive materials. The colorful image patterns formed by this will be pleasing to you. This instrument is used as a toy for children. Periscope. It is an instrument used for viewing bodies or ships which are over and around another body or a submarine. It is based on the principle of the law of reflection of light. It consists of a long outer case, and inside this case mirrors or prisms are kept at each end, inclined at an angle of 45 degrees. Light coming from the distant body falls on the mirror at the top end of the periscope and gets reflected vertically downward. This light is reflected again by the second mirror kept at the bottom to travel horizontally and reach the eye of the observer. In some complex periscope, optic fiber is used instead of mirrors for obtaining a higher resolution. The distance between the mirrors varies depending on the purposes. Uses of periscope. It is used in warfare and navigation of the submarine. In the military, it is used for pointing and firing guns from a bunker. Photographs of important places can be taken through periscopes without trespassing restricted military regions. Fiber optic periscopes are used by doctors as endoscopes to view internal organs of the body. Summary of the lesson. Light is reflected from all surfaces. Regular reflection takes place when light is incident on smooth, polished and regular surfaces. Diffused or irregular reflection takes place from rough surfaces. Two laws of reflection are: the angle of incidence is equal to the angle of reflection. The incident ray, reflected ray and the normal drawn at the point of incidence to the reflecting surface lie in the same plane. The image formed in a plane mirror undergoes lateral inversion. Two mirrors inclined to each other give multiple images. Beautiful patterns are formed in a kaleidoscope because of multiple reflections.